Manchester City are also nailed down their Champions League place with a 2-0 win over Fulham. Jules, that Ilkay Gundogan is rather sprightly for a man his age.
Well, yeah, it's a good goal. Oh, this is the only thing he could do anyway. The kind of a hover.
It's hard to do.
Well, the Raúl Jimenez one that goes just over the bar in the second half is much harder to do than the Gundogan one, obviously.
I just thought the way he doesn't have any
just
kind
the ball
of
loops
run-up.
over him, so then he turns around and then do it like you do on the beach on your own. You throw the ball in the air and then you do the overhead kick. That's what it is. It's not like a cross coming like the Jimenez one, for example. But it's still a good goal.
Well, Jimenez is athletic.
Yeah,
Gundogan,
true. That's very true. For me, this was all about KDB being left on the bench by Pep Guardiola until the 85th minute. I know he got his farewell at home at the Etihad in midweek last week, but I just didn't understand that call. I thought it was very disrespectful from Guardiola to leave KDB on the bench for his last ever game for this club, maybe the greatest player they've ever had in Manchester City history, or certainly in the top 5. You leave him on the bench to put a Nico Gonzalez there, to put a Gundogan there who will be there next season. It was not for me.
Franny Lee sends his regards, by the way.
It's a top 5, so you can have Franny Lee if you want. And
you know why? You know why KDB? Because he'd been partying too much, celebrating Napoli Scudetto, his future team.
Yeah, probably. Ryan Gravenberch is sent off as Liverpool draw 1-1 at Anfield against Crystal Palace with Jurgen Klopp in attendance. But Gav, this was all about the trophy lift and the party.
That's right. Look, I mean, I was so excited. The Community Shield is my absolute favorite football match every year, and this is the preview of the Community Shield.
Absolutely.
What could be better? No, look, I mean, both teams on the pitch. It was all about what happened afterwards. I don't know why Gravenberch felt the need to get himself sent off. Maybe he wants a little holiday at the start of next season. I don't know. But not much to say here. Nice that I thought Trent, after being booed by a portion of people, and they have every right to boo, also realized that a lot of people really, really love him. Arsenal finished with a 2-1 win at Southampton. Jules, obviously, all season long, we've been talking about the need for center forward.
Yeah.
And how some of us suggest that maybe if they'd acted in January, then maybe they'd be Champions League winners, maybe even title winners. Maybe. Anyway, Arteta says, we're on it.
Yes.
All right, Mikel. And according to media reports, I saw this in the Times. I think everybody has the same thing, which suggests that maybe somebody was briefed. Isak is too expensive.
Which was expected.
And they're looking for Gyökeres or Sesko, both of whom have pros and cons.
Yeah.
I have my view, but who do you like out of those two?
I like them both, to be fair. You're right. They have pros and cons. One is younger, Sesko. The other one has scored many more goals in his career, but in a lesser league than the Bundesliga in Portugal. I think Sesko is probably all around better. And I think probably better technically.
Bigger upside.
Technically as well, with more room for improvement. But do you want somebody with room for improvement, or do you want somebody who could be ready, who's hungry and going straight in and hit the ground running straight away? I don't know. I feel sometimes watching Sesko, I find him a bit nonchalant in his attitude and his body language, which I don't find with Gyökeres. So I don't know. I think both would be great. One of them would be great. As in, one of them would be great. Not both. Not sign them both, but one of them. I'm just not sure then on what really would be the key here to decide him or him.
For me, it's very simple. As you know, I don't think they need to sign an absolute A-lister to replace Kai Havertz at center forward, because I'm a Kai Havertz fan. And if you bring somebody in, it's really difficult to fit Kai Havertz into the lineup. Yes, he can play midfield, but hey, look, that's a Declan Rice position. Oh, but then move Declan Rice in front of the back four. Oh, but Zubimendi's coming to play there. Not to mention when you get into a world of Marinos and Waneris. So I want Kai Havertz to be my center forward next season. And because I want Kai Havertz to be my center forward next season, I want a guy who can take minutes off him, who in some situations can play with him, who can bring something different to the table. And for that reason, I'm much more Sesko oriented. Sesko's still very young. You can come and you say, hey, Benjamin, hang out here for a year. You're going to play a ton. We're going to do different things with you. Havertz can also play wide. He's done it before. Let's not forget, right? It's not like, oh, look, Martinelli, upgrade Martinelli. Yeah, leave Martinelli where he is.
I think they might sign a left winger anyway.
So they say. I mean, it depends where you decide to put your resources. I would focus on extending Saliba. That would be my very first priority, if you can.
Trying to do that too.
But yeah, I would definitely go for Sesko. Gyökeres comes mid-career, high service, and then you kind of have to play around Gyökeres a lot. Great player, but for me, it's a no-brainer. Jules, and Postecoglou says, part of him is thinking, why am I even being asked about my future? We just won the Europa League. Club chairman Daniel Levy writes in his program notes, I thought this was pointed.
Yeah.
It's one trophy. Our clear ambition as a club has always been long-term, sustained success.
And that's the heart of it. Gabby, can you achieve that with Ange Postecoglou or not? I think this season has showed that, for me, he's not that kind of manager. I've said it before. I'm happy to say again, well done for winning the Europa League. But like Daniel Levy says, this is one trophy. And if Ange doesn't understand why his future is uncertain, despite winning the Europa League, he's missing the point. I think he's saying it on purpose. He completely understands. Yeah, he knows.
He's too smart.
He's too smart for that. And Ange, who hasn't been told anything about pre-season or what's going to happen next, surely that doesn't bode well. They might keep him and he might do a wonderful job. We like Ange as a man. We've said that a long time before. But 22 defeats this season in the league, which is the most ever in English football history for a team not being relegated from the top flight, whether it was the Premier League, the old first division, call it whatever you want. 38 points in 38 games is unacceptable. Whether you won the Europa League or not, it doesn't matter. It's not good enough.
And I think if you use the other metric about which players have gotten better in the past year, I mean, you could make a point about Udogie, maybe. Although, I mean, he wasn't bad when he came. You can certainly make a point about Bergvall. I don't know if he got better if we just saw more of him.
That's true.
Brennan Johnson.
Maybe,
Solanke.
I'm not sure he's better than he was last season at Bournemouth this season. Definitely not. So, Mohamed Salah says there were serious negotiations to join the Saudi Pro League before he extended his contract with Liverpool, Gav.
Yeah, I think he was on some Saudi TV show when he said this. How serious were they? Because he also says the same thing. He always wanted to stay.
Yeah.
So in the end, it was going to be. I kind of feel like, all right. So what is it about money? So like the only scenario, if you always want to stay, the only scenario where you don't stay is if Liverpool say, "Hey, Mo, come back and play for minimum wage because you love the club so much," right? I do think it's a bit different for Salah going to Saudi because I think there is, I think there's a religious and a cultural component. He's a religious guy. So I think it's different from him than, some other than, Milinkovic, Savic or somebody going to Saudi. So I don't think it would have been just a money move, although obviously, rightly, had he gone there, he would have been paid. But I don't mind that he was open about it. But I think it was always going to be, to me, if we didn't get greedy, he was always going to stay, and he didn't get greedy.
And they will be there in 2 years' time when his contract with Liverpool finishes, and this time probably won't have an extension. So
he can still go there. I'm not 100% certain the Saudi money will be there. Maybe it will.
Not,
But I could still see him going there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I could still see him at the end of his career. Actually, I don't know, because I know he played, when he was in Egypt, he played for something called Arab Contractors. I don't know if he's a Zamalek or an Al Ahly fan, or if he has any connection to either club. I should know. I'm sorry. But it'd be pretty cool at the very end of his career he went back there.
Right, definitely.
Joel, Sunderland have won the Championship playoffs and will be joining the Premier League.
Yes.
As you know, I do not follow the Championship.
Yeah.
I do know a little more about Sunderland because I did watch that wonderful Sunderland Till I Die documentary.
It was a long time ago, though.
Yeah, I know, but I think that was the last time it was just after they went down and they had the weird posh guy in the second season. So please educate me, because I believe they have a French manager and a Roma reject whose dad was in prison.
Yeah. Also French and a French owner. One of the youngest, by the way. He will be the youngest by far.
But not with the French name.
Well, Louis Dreyfus, that's pretty French.
What is it?
Louis Dreyfus. His surname, that's pretty French.
Oh, as in the affair, Dreyfus affair.
Yeah, Dreyfus,
I was getting him.
Yeah, his father was the Marseille owner, Robert, back in the days.
I got him confused. Wasn't there some other French-Russian dodgepot that tried to buy the club at some point?
I don't know. But so very French vibes in Sunderland with Régis Lebris, the manager, Enzo Lefebvre, the playmaker that you mentioned, who came on loan from Roma, and now I think will stick around and has been very good, was too good for the Championship. But third against fourth in this playoff final, Sheffield United, who finished third, 14 points ahead of Sunderland in the Championship, long Championship season. Sunderland were fourth.
Which is really 16 points if you take away the points penalty.
Yeah, I mean, but like 14 in the table, 7 more wins for Sheffield United than Sunderland, and in the end, it's Sunderland who go up in the 95th minute at the end of the suspense in the game. To be fair, with Sheffield United controlled for most of it, but credit to Lebris, he's a great coach. I think showed a lot of resilience at Sunderland, less dogmatic than when he was in France, where he was one of the the game's philosophers and having that kind of like personality. And he made this young team very resilient, very good, fighting for everything, and with a lot of verticality and really interesting players like Isidore, like Lefebvre, of course, like Bellingham, the brother, like Rig, like Watson, who scored the goal, who's going to Brighton. I don't know. They will need a lot more to stay up next season in the Premier League because they're not ready just now, but it's an amazing achievement for them.
2 fun facts. One, Bellingham goes by Job on his back, presumably because there's another guy with the same last name and the same first initial as well, who's more famous and better than he is, his older brother.
Yeah.
And I think it's nice to see a club go up, or it makes it more of a feat to have a club go up without, it's a non-parachute payment club. I mean, obviously, historically Sunderland, a Premier League club, but they don't have parachute payments anymore. They've been down a long time.
Yeah.